Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Boy, we're having more fun in between segments than we are at the segments just about. We're having on this Saturday morning on September the 22nd, opening a fall. It's finally here. Supposed to get some cooler weather, thanks goodness, and maybe it'll clear up all you folks that have allergy problems like me. But I love the fall. You know, I like spring too. I'm pretty partial to summer too. I really like winter, but I think fall and winter are my best times. Yeah. You know, the older you get, but there's so many things that go on in the wintertime for us that love to hunt and fish. I know you can catch some big fish, but let's talk fall fishing. We got two in this room, two of the best guys that I can think of right now to talk local fishing. They're sitting right over there together. They look like Siamese twins. They're stuck together over at the hip, going to the shoulder. Yeah, but I'm serious. This is pretty cool to have David Best in from Primary Tackle, and of course have our man who is just amazing at the knowledge of overall fishing that Ron Wong has, and he took time from his busy schedule to actually stop by and visit with us this morning too. So
I love being here.
Well, let's talk fall fishing with you two guys. You're both on the same microphone. That don't get any closer than that. We have sprayed them both, but let's talk a little bit about fall fishing. David, I know your place out there, and folks, if you have not been to Primary Tackle out in Bartlett, you can go to Crystal and lead across the street. You can go to my favorite ice cream place at Sheridan's right there. And then you can just stop over to David's because he's got a facility that'll knock your socks off. So let's talk a little local fishing between you two guys. All right. So what time of the year do each of you, what is your favorite time to fish for bass? David?
I mean, my favorite time is actually pre-spawn, just before pre-spawn, but my second favorite time is truly fall.
Okay.
It's the weather's a little more stable. You can get around a little bit better. You know, it tends to be a little transitional, so it's a true junk fisherman's paradise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you need to have 10 different rods on the deck. You need to be versatile.
You got the man next to you can handle that. So,
yeah.
How about it, Ron? 10 rod Ron.
Well, you know, I'm kind of like David. I really like to fish the pre-spawn.
Mm-hmm.
The fish are very predictive at that time of the year. You can pretty well know where they're going to be and which way they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not quite as scattered out. Pretty easy to pattern them. Plus, that's when you're going to be able to catch the biggest fish of the year because of the pre-spawn. Fall is my second, just like David.
Yeah.
Because they are plentiful. They're fairly easy to pattern also. You know, you go to any of the major lakes, big lakes, whether it's on the Tennessee River, the I-55 lakes,
mm-hmm.
or whatever, they're all going to be following the food, the lunch wagon. All the shad will be moving back into the creeks. You just follow the lunch wagon and catch them.
Well, I know you threw in the lunch wagon because you follow a lot of lunch wagons, I know. So
yes, I do.
Yes, you do. But together, you two, and David, I know that fall to me is, I call it my biggest, okay, I'm not a, you know that. I mean, my biggest bass I've ever caught was, and I caught it in the fall. And if you want more details, it was the same day that my wife caught her biggest bass.
And it was bigger than yours, right?
It was bigger than mine. Yeah, but
it's okay.
With George Cochran.
Used to it.
With George
I'm
Cochran,
okay with that.
the great George Cochran, and it was in the fall.
Yes, he's a Bassmaster Classic winner, and probably one of the best shallow water fishermen ever.
Well, he knew I was afraid of water, so we always stayed in 2 feet of water. So no, really, no. But talk about bass fishing in the fall, David.
Yeah, we just got finished. I just got back from Guntersville last weekend, and we caught all of our fish out of the same area, but we literally had to do something different each day in order to get those fish to bite.
Huh.
So you have to be, like I said, you need to have 10 rods on the deck. You need to be a little versatile, kind of go through a progression of, let's do this today, we'll do this tomorrow, we'll do this, let's do this, and this, and let the fish tell you what they want. I mean, literally, we caught them on the edge of grass lines on Friday, in sparse grass out in deeper water on a 10-inch worm. On Saturday, come in, same area, doing the same thing. Couldn't catch a fish to save our life. You had to, that afternoon, we started catching them on a topwater. And then the next day we had to punch mats. So you have to just kind of go through your progression and start to find what are they doing this day. They're going to change because they're changing with those fish, with that food. They're chasing it around.
And that's why Ron has so many rods and reels. You know, I mean, because really,
yes and no. You know, yes, you've got to have that. And like David said, you've got to be able to pattern the fish, and they will change daily.
Well, the water temperature. You know, I mean, it's
water temperature. Weather temperature.
We've just come off 90-degree heat.
I'm going to give you an example. You know, last week I was down at Grenada Lake covering the American Crappie Trail tournament.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later.
On the first day, the gates have been closed to all of the I-55 lakes because of the rising water on the Mississippi River. Friday afternoon, they opened the gates.
Yeah.
And I was told by some of the fishermen how the fish reacted so differently. When the gates were closed, the fish were on the bottom. When the gates were open and there's water flow and current, the fish moved up in the same area, and so they bit differently. But, you know, to David's point, you know, you start out with what you were doing yesterday, and if it doesn't work, switch up. And there's a couple of, you know, key baits, I think, this time of the year that works real well for you, and that's a 3 to 4 inch swim bait of some kind with just a simple jig head on there, preferably an 1/8 ounce jig head, because you can fish it a little bit slower, or you can drop it and fish it a little bit deeper. But that's going to emulate what the fish are eating right now. Like David said, a topwater bait is primo this time of the year until
and fun,
it's good.
And it'll last longer than most people think. Usually.
Oh, absolutely. Until the water temperature, believe it or not, reaches 50 degrees on the surface, you can catch them on top. That's right, Bill.
On top water, yeah. And I know, David, you'll get in your store. Give that location again.
We're at 6765 Stage Road, right there in between Whitten and Summer Ave.
And your hours, like today, Saturday, you'll...
we're 10 to 5 today. We're 10 to 7 during the week.
Okay, now you get I'm assuming you get a lot of folks who will come in and maybe they don't know, they're not a bass, they want to learn how to be bass. I think that's one of your things with your store, that you've opened it up to be not only a place to go buy lures, but a place to go and actually learn something about what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. And, you know, that's one of the things that I started the business off of my regular website, MidSouthBassFishing.com, which was just an informational site, and we started trying to sell a few things to pay for the website, and that's how we kind of grew up from there. But, you know, we do a monthly seminar the last Tuesday of every month. We have guest speakers come in. My September one has fell through, so I'm going to be doing that, but it's going to be it's going to be talking about fishing grass and transitional fishing. For fall, we had Jimmy Washam last month to do it.
When will this September?
It's September. It's going to be Tuesday.
Okay.
So it's coming up.
It's
coming up a couple of days.
Yeah. Okay. It'll be Tuesday.
So
at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Because you've got a huge room in the back.
Oh yeah, we actually have 2 huge rooms in the back. Now since you've been in last, we've actually added a 120-inch projection screen, and we broadcast all the FLW lives and Bass lives and all that.
Really?
Cool.
During the day, so it's been pretty fun to do.
So that's why no one came to the door when I was there that day.
No. It's open.
It's open. It's open. And again, we're talking to David Best of Primary Tackle.
One of the things I like about this
and our
store
man Ron
too,
Wall.
is, you know, if you're not quite sure what the fish are biting in this area right now, you know, you can go to David and say, hey, what are they biting? I'm going so-and-so. They'll help you pick out what you need.
Or where you need to go. I think he's got a place.
He's going to help you do that. But they're going to be able to help you with what you need for where you're going. And, you know, there's not another store around that does that.
No, there's not. And, again, that's David Best. And
Larry, can I jump in on this segment?
I was just getting ready to turn to you because I know you do a little fishing on the side yourself.
Well,
but I know
I
who's
want to talk about David because we don't really know each other, but I know something about him that I think people out there who maybe haven't been customers yet need to know that sets him apart from other stores.
All right.
There are 2 young men on our trap team at Bartlett.
That's right, yeah.
Who started a little jig company.
Yeah.
And these are 2 kids just trying to do something neat, and I think everybody thinks that's cool.
Yeah.
But not many people would take time out of their business to try to help and advise and guide 2 kids when it doesn't help your bottom line. It's just you doing a nice thing for a couple of kids. And David has done that. I mean, he's mentored these kids, and they're really excited about the whole thing. And they talk about him all the time when we're at practice. I'll ask them how the bait company's going. Well, David, da-da-da. So, that's, without knowing David, I say, I like that guy. That's the kind of guy I'd want to do business with.
One of the reasons I wrote the story about the 2 kids, and their names are
Brandon Lonecar and Logan's going to shoot me.
And Logan, I'm going to shoot you.
I just go by Logan.
Logan and Brandon. That's Logan and Brandon, and they
Logan and Brandon.
And they have their own little lure company.
They do. It's Bluff City Baits.
Bluff City Baits. There you go.
They actually just released a bladed jig this week too, which is a really, really good little jig.
Really.
So, the matter of fact, a couple of kids at the high school tournament at Kentucky Lake this last weekend, they caught some of their fish on them. So
Hancock.
Hancock, that's what it is. That's what it is. Well, I thank you, Bill, for bringing that up, because those 2 kids.
I had to research.
We had them on the show, and they handled themselves real well, and bigger and best things. And of course, when your head man is named Best, I'm glad it's not David Bad. Last. David Last. David Best sounds better than David Last.
David Worst was always the one that that was always my nickname.
David Worst? Is that what he was?
Yeah.
There is a difference when you go somewhere local that knows the area.
Yeah. Well, appreciate David being. He's going to stick around with us as we continue this show, and we're going to talk a little crappie fishing on the next segment as we coming up, because I know Ron was down at Grenada Lake. We're going to talk to Stephen Sullivan. He and his partner won the American Crappie Trail event at Grenada, the last event of the regular season. And if I'm not mistaken, they got I've got the schedule here, Ron. I actually have the schedule. They're going to, let's see, in February, got all these great things going. Lake Gunnersville, then the championship is, where's it at, Ron?
Lake D'Arbonne.
Oh, I love to say that. I love to hear Ron say that. Lake D'Arbonne in Louisiana. Well, all right, we'll take a break, come back. Little crappie fishing talk on Outdoors with Larry Ray.